Hi everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I think that The Sims recently went on sale, and a couple of months ago I did a video where I ranked every single expansion pack in The Sims 4, and this was my final ranking. I'm gonna move on to game packs now. Now, The Sims 4 has currently 12 game packs available, each retailing for $20. I think that totals to $200 and something dollars. So The Sims 4, she's expensive. You know, I have paid for every single pack on my own with my own money. So I figured that you and I could sit down and I would tell you everything that was worth my money and everything that was not. But full disclaimer that I almost never purchase these things at full price. I purchased them at 50% off when they used to go on 50% off. Now I feel like the game packs rarely ever go more than 35% off. Maybe one day we'll get 50% off again, but I have a few categories here. My must-have game packs, these are ones that I genuinely consider to be game-changing and that I use the most often. Game changer is I use it often. It does change the game, but it isn't something that I'm like, if I didn't have this pack, my game wouldn't work in the same way. Only if it's on sale is it's fun. It has a specific gameplay purpose. If you like that purpose, then definitely go ahead and purchase it when it's on sale. And a literal joke. The Sims team thought they were funny. This pack is either completely broken or just has absolutely nothing in it that is worth your time. And finally, LOL as if, and I think we all know what is going to go into that category. This is as if I would think about buying that pack ever in a million years. But let me go in reverse order and we shall go through it. Hello, Windows backup. The first pack that I am going to talk about is Parenthood. Now, Parenthood, I think, is one of the earlier Sims 4 packs. It comes with a number of things, mostly around like parenting for your children. I like the build and buy of Parenthood. I use it a lot, like a lot. If you've seen any of my builds at some point, I'm using Parenthood. I also really enjoy the parenting aspect. You have the ability to discipline your children. They have learning moments and skills. And for me, it is, if it came with a world, I would like Parenthood a lot more, but it didn't, and that's okay because it's a game pack. So I think I would still place it at must have though, because I think that parenting would be very flat and one-dimensional without this pack in your game. Like, what do you do with your children? They just walk around like tiny adults, but with Parenthood, you really do have the ability to influence how your child grows up, and your child has things that they aspire to in terms of their character values. My next pack is Vampires, and Vampires I already know that I would put into only if it's on sale. Not because Vampires is a bad pack. In fact, I think that Vampires is one of the most fleshed out occult packs we have in the entire Sims 4 game. The way the vampire system works and the skills that you skill up in it, I think are great. If you're playing a vampire let's play, like, this is such a fun pack to have because vampires are very thought out, very fleshed out. We have vampires who drink plasma, quote unquote, from Sims, and we have vampires who eat like plasma fruit, and there's the whole like lore behind vampires. I don't particularly like Forgotten Hollow though. I think that is way too dark, which yes, makes sense because they are vampires, but from a gameplay purpose, it's like literally hard to see the world, and it's still tiny. There are only 4 lots. I think that Vampires definitely deserved a better, more fleshed out world, but I do think they're one of the top occults. It's just an occult pack. It's not something I'm going to play every single time because I'm not often playing with Vampire Sims. I like it, but I would say only get this if it's on sale and you really want vampires. We have another occult pack, and for me, I would put this like here between only if it's on sale and Literal Joke, which sounds so mean, but not because I think that Werewolves is a literal joke. I actually think it's a fairly nice pack, but because werewolves I don't find particularly fun because they're constantly rampaging everywhere in the game. Like, literally, they are always rampaging, always in their werewolf form. And I just personally have never liked werewolves. So that's why I don't. But there is the ability to like find your fated May, and werewolves do have pretty cool powers. There are the packs and stuff. I think the Werewolf Aspiration, if I remember correctly, is like fairly fleshed out. I do like Moonwood Mill. I think that's such a fun world. I love a lot of the build and buy that came with werewolves, but the letdown of the pack is the werewolves themselves. I just don't particularly like them. So only if it's on sale, but no, I like it less than vampires. I can't even tell you the last time I played with Dream Home Decorator besties. I cannot even tell you. Why? Because the actual career that Dream Home Decorator comes with, she don't work very well. You're supposed to be an interior designer, and I absolutely love the concept of like Sims literally hiring you and you're able to go in and like build out certain areas of their home. I think that if that was more fine-tuned and worked better, I would like this a lot more. It is such a fun concept, but I think that Dream Home Decorator's strength is its build and buy, and even then, I don't use a ton of it. I like the introduction of like the modular wardrobes and the modular couches. Those are the only items that I use. I don't think I use anything else from Dream Home Decorator very often. I would place it at literal joke, but that again feels very harsh. So I'm going to say only if it's on sale. The only reason I would consider it to be literal joke is that the interior designer career doesn't work very well. Like, you will run into so many bugs and so many issues, and there are so many cheats and things you have to try to work around to get the career to function. Maybe I'll move it to literal joke later. I like what Dream Home Decorator could have been. She could have been so much more, but she was not. Dine Out. I'm gonna have a very controversial opinion about Dine Out because theoretically, with all of its bugs and stuff, it should be at literal joke. But for me, it's a must-have. I'm sorry, besties. I play like a fucking millennial who plays The Sims 4. It's true. I play legacy style. I'm always having my Sims like find the love of their life or like make a bunch of friends. And the thing that I want them to do is go out to restaurants. And they can't do that if you don't have Dine Out. I like the restaurant like idea a lot. Like, you have so many options for the kind of restaurants that you can make, being able to set the wardrobes, the wardrobes, being able to set the uniform for your staff, being able to set the menu for your restaurants. Like, there's almost every kind of restaurant that you can make, and I genuinely find building restaurants to be so much fun. I also really enjoy sending my Sims to the restaurant. Listen, a couple of years ago, it was really, really, really bad. Like, your Sims would never even get their fucking food. Like, you would be sitting in that restaurant for hours, and you would still never get your food. I think it's somewhat better now, at least for me, in that yes, it will still be an all-day event, but my Sims will get their food, will eat, and will leave at some point before 4 o'clock in the morning. That's a very low standard to have, but just the way that I play, I couldn't imagine not having restaurants in my game, although I do think it is really pathetic that the game pack could be so broken and they would think that that's an okay thing to sell. And it could be, this pack is years old, and for it to still be so buggy and broken for so many people is actually ridiculous. But in my gameplay, I need restaurants. Then we have Spa Day, the one and only pack. We've gotten a refresh too. I'm going to put this only if it's on sale. And the only reason it's there and not lower is because when they did the pack refresh, they introduce like the ability to teach yoga to large groups of people. I really like the yoga aspect of it, the yoga and meditation aspect of it. It works a lot for the kind of gameplay that I do. And I also really love, again, for gameplay purposes, having spa as an option, especially for my Sims who I am sending like on their honeymoon or on like a little couples retreat or something like that. And I also like the ability to give massages. It just works really well for the lot type that I have. And you can see that I focus a lot on community lots and what's available to my Sims and what kind of gameplay can I have outside of the house. Although she's not anything special. She's not going to completely change your game. Only if it's on sale and only if you really want your Sims to be able to do yoga and to meditate and to get massages. Jungle Adventure. I like Jungle Adventure. I really do. I would put her at Game Changer. Wow, so many packs are going to end up in only if it's on sale, which tells us a lot of these packs are just mid. Jungle Adventure, I love, specifically because I like the introduction of Latin American culture or some aspects of it within the game, but I also think that the world of Selva Dorada is such a beautiful world. I wish it wasn't locked behind a vacation world. And I talk about this a lot in my game or in my videos where I say like vacations have changed so much since these packs, Jungle Adventure and Outdoor Retreat, came out, that it doesn't really make sense to have worlds that are locked behind the vacation functionality. But Shar'sSimsVida is a beautiful world. I really do love exploring the temples, and it's a world that I often go back to. I have a soft spot in it for my heart. I can't, in good conscience, put it in Game Changer, but I do think that it is a fun pack, and if you like the look of Shar'sSimsVida, it's such a fun world to go to. I think they did a pretty good job with this aspect. It's different from the other kind of packs you would get with The Sims 4, but I do really like it. And it makes sense for us to go from Jungle Adventure to Outdoor Retreat, since these are the only two packs that come with Vacation Worlds. Outdoor Retreat, I'm gonna put lower. It's gonna be your first pack at a literal joke. Why? It's not my kind of gameplay. This is completely biased, and it is fully about my opinion and what kind of gameplay that I like. But I don't particularly like the world of, what's this place called? Something forest? I don't know. It's the forest world. There isn't a lot of things to interact with. It's beautiful, but it's shallow, and I wish they had gone back and added the ability to like do walking paths through nature. It's the same issue that I have with another pack I'm going to talk about in a minute, where the world feels like a set because there are few things to interact with. Of course, you can do things like harvest bugs and go fishing and like get collectibles, but the world itself has a lot of areas that you really can't get to. I like some of the build and buy aspects of Outdoor Retreat. I think it's great if you're building like the outdoorsy style houses, like cabins, lodges, things like that. Outdoor Retreat is a great pack for that. I do like the campfires and the s'mores makings and things like that, but it's fine. It's just okay. Strangerville. Am I gonna put Strangerville at a literal joke? I don't think it's a literal joke, so it's gonna go up here with all of the mid packs. Strangerville is a one-of-a-kind pack. Much like Jungle Adventure had this very interesting concept that you were going out and finding treasure, which, you know, let's not think about that too hard. But Strangerville is like a one and done kind of play style, right? It's a storyline based pack where you have moved to Strangerville and there's something weird going on and Sims are like possessed and infected and you have to go and figure out what's happening and defeat the mother plant. Strangerville is a beautiful world. She's a beautiful world. And that is all I have to say about this pack. I like the build and buy from Strangerville. I like some of the cast items. I like the ability to spy on your Sims because it did get introduced with Strangerville. It is a fun pack in terms of like storytelling purposes, and I actually do go back and play it, not fairly often, but every once in a while when I'm like doing my legacy challenges, I will go back and play with Strangerville. The thing that bothers me about Strangerville is that there isn't a lot of gameplay outside of after you've defeated the mother, so take that as you will. I like the world of Strangerville, but it constantly resets every time you start a new save file so that world is always infected. And I don't always want to see my Sims walking around possessed, you know? I don't want to risk that. Realm of Magic. Unfortunately, I'm going to put this one at a literal joke. This was deeply disappointing to me because I actually really loved the idea of getting actual witches in The Sims 4, but this pack fell flat on its face. A lot of the magic spells, quote unquote, that you were able to do as a spellcaster are things we already had in the game from packs like Get to Work. And I was like, I already have the ability to do this. Even some of the things our base game, like we have some kind of ability to teleport. I was like, well, that's not fun. Like I wanted some crazy ass spells, and the thing is that The Sims 4 is rated T for teen, and there are deaths. There isn't necessarily like killing, and I think that it would have been really cool to have like evil spellcasters. Listen, I get why they didn't do that, but that is what I wanted. I also wanted better spells, things that are more fleshed out. The magic realm is cool, but again, it needed more fleshing out because really all it is a building, a garden, and a bunch of market stalls, and it needed a little bit more development. It's visually beautiful, but gameplay wise a little bit flat, which is the overall theme of The Sims 4, and spellcasters just aren't that fun. Like, yes, they have a cool magic system, but it's a little bit too much work for what it is that you get. My wedding stories. You're gonna go into LOL as if I did actually purchase this pack because I foolishly had faith that they would fix all of the things that were broken with this pack, but I should have known better because anything that relies on the intelligence and autonomy of Sims in The Sims 4 isn't gonna fucking work very well. This pack is an absolute disaster. The world of Tartosa is visually stunning, but again, very flat in terms of gameplay. Go actually play in Tartosa. There ain't shit for you to do. You can't walk most places. You can't interact with anything. The little town center, all they do is sell wedding cakes and flowers. You're not getting married? Too fucking bad. There's nothing for you to do in Tartosa. I genuinely, deep down inside of me, hate this world. I don't like it. I think that it was lazy and sloppy in terms of its gameplay because the camera work in here, number one, is shit. In terms of like, there are just points that the camera automatically snap to that don't make any fucking sense. In terms of the visual gameplay, there's absolutely nowhere for your Sims to walk to, and good luck ever finding more than one harvestable in Tartosa. Why would you go here? To go to the beach? To swim at this super, super, super tiny little section of quote unquote beach that is literally like 5 steps for your Sim? I'm not into it, and it still doesn't function. The main point of my wedding stories was weddings, and weddings still don't function very well. Like, save your money. This is a disaster. And of course, Journey to Batu. LOL, as if. Listen, besties. Do I like space? Yeah. Could I have gotten into a Star Wars themed pack? Potentially. I like the tiles in Batu, but when the gameplay actually came out, we had a little bit of a My Wedding Stories part 2 because there ain't shit for you to do in Batu. Besties, a lot of the buildings are rabbit holes. The only building that's not a rabbit hole is like the little bar area you can go to. And honestly, from what I've seen, it is boring, repetitive, and literally a waste of your fucking money. All right. So we've come to the conclusion that most game packs are absolutely mid, with my very controversial opinion that Dine Out is a must-have just for me because I like restaurants. I stand by Parenthood as a top pack. I can't in good conscience put any of these packs into Game Changers because they quite honestly are not. So I think that I am going to stick with this very harsh rating. There are no game-changing packs. There are only a couple of must-have packs for me, and everything else is mid, and it's if you like this kind of gameplay and you want it. Don't get packs just because of the world though, bestie. That's not a great idea unless you love having a bunch of places to send your Sims, because the main selling point for me for these 2 packs are the world. Like, that's it. Forgotten Hollow and the vampires, it's actually the vampires. Like, that's the selling point and not the world. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it helpful in making your decision about which packs are worth your money and what you should spend your time on. Much like the expansion packs, a lot of the packs are absolutely not worth your time. But here's my final opinion as someone who has spent a lot of money on The Sims 4 and what I actually felt like I got useful gameplay out of. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye!